You cannot kill the devil, Tenno. But you can send it back to hell.
In the newest Warframe quest, titled The Hex, from the Warframe 1999 update, the Drifter, who you play as, shows great distress when the nuclear bomb goes off and all the members of the Hex die. The player character is so distressed, in fact, that they restart the loop, even though Albrecht and Trotty ensures them that the nuclear bomb going off was what needed to happen, and they save the future by allowing it to go off, successfully weakening or limiting the power of the indifference. Regardless of this, the Drifter decides to restart the loop and tries to save every single member of the Hex and find a way to stop the indifference without allowing the bomb to go off.
He's ash in seconds. No need for misery. Come, now. Murmur, expend. Tau is in sight. They've given their lives for this. Make it count.
Just go. No. I can save them.
Not unless you know them.
A similar reluctance to sacrifice an individual for the greater good can be seen at another point in the Hex storyline, when the Drifter refuses to shoot and kill Major Rusalka, despite the fact that she had just been trying to kill the Drifter and their allies because she was currently being possessed and controlled by the Indifference. The Drifter misses a major chance to cripple the Indifference and assist the Hex members because of their choice of sparing the Major and allowing the Indifference to make a move on the Drifter.
Here is the breach. With each cycle, more seeps into her.
Who are you?
Kill her. Now.
It's not really her that's doing this.
If you cannot sacrifice even this much, how will you do what comes next?
What's he talking about, Marty? Maybe I won't.
Are you more a child than your mother? Do you think I am not haunted by these choices?
These two cutscenes, and most of the cutscenes throughout the Hex storyline, are incredibly consistent morally. The Drifter we play as is nearly as morally righteous as someone could even get, with its attitude of never leaving anyone behind and finding a way to save everybody, regardless of their past actions or if it could possibly risk future goals. However, my problem with the Drifter and the Hex quest as a whole when it comes to morals is that the Drifter has never, ever been this morally righteous before, and the character assassination done on the Drifter in these cutscenes is absolutely insane, with the Hex questline giving me a similar feeling to the Fallout 4 storyline. It essentially forces you to be extremely moral and righteous in most scenarios, which is incredibly strange to me, particularly because DE was pushing this narrative of having moral choices throughout several of the past quests, with there being a kind, neutral, and aggressive option. This is particularly frustrating while playing the Hex quest when the actual gameplay harshly goes against these morals, when it comes to slaughtering hordes upon hordes of Scdra forces, not being willing to kill the leader of the Scdra, but readily slaughtering the average soldier is already strange, but it gets even worse when you look into who the average Scdra soldier is, which we'll do now. The Scdra is mostly made up of the Halvanian military that forcibly took control of the city-state after the rise of the tech rot. The Scdra's main goal is to stop, or at the very least, slow down the spread of the tech rot, and to their credit, they have managed to do a somewhat decent job, with most of the tech rot being held underground and the surface of Halvania largely remaining non-conquered by the disease or virus, whatever it is. Of course, you could claim that the Hex are the reason the tech rot isn't spreading as quickly. However, I think it's much more likely a mix of the two groups that are affecting the tech rot, especially with the aggressive nature of the Scdra, along with them setting up quarantine areas and patrolling them, which is obviously insanely important in stopping the spread of a virus, disease, or whatever you're trying to stop. Of course, the Scdra are not perfect, and regularly kill civilians, force civilians to join the Scdra, and have sort of an insane religious zeal about them. They are also sworn enemies of the Hex and attempt to stop the group throughout the entirety of the storyline. This leads to the Hex and the Drifter slaughtering hordes upon hordes of Scdra soldiers, and this is where my confusion on the morals of the Drifter come in. The large majority of the Scdra are literally trying to save their city, especially considering the Scdra are the only group accepting members that's fighting against the tech rot in the city, since the Hex don't take in new members, as far as we can tell at least. That means if you want to help save the city you love, your literal only option as a normal human is to sign up to the Scdra. The argument can be made it's literally morally righteous and for the betterment of the world to sign up for the Scdra, even considering some of the negative things that they do. And when you throw in the fact a large subset of the Scdra military was literally drafted and forced to fight for their city, it makes the question on morals even muddier. Why is the Drifter completely fine with and even banters with the Hex while completing extermination missions of Scdra soldiers, but is completely unwilling to kill the leader of the Scdra or let the Hex members they barely know die after the first quest? This makes no sense and is incredibly inconsistent. The Drifter is literally slaughtering thousands of people attempting to save their city from the tech rot virus, which is insane, just because the Scdra isn't perfect in every way. However, with a disease as dangerous as the tech rot, what group is going to be perfect? They might kill some innocents, and they might kick people out from their homes, but if the tech rot manages to spread in a major way outside of Halvania, the literal world would end. Being extreme in this situation, and damn near fanatical, is quite literally the best option. Now I understand that there might be some moments where you have to kill a Scdra to do the morally correct thing, like stopping the nuke from going off, but once again, you're not going to be able to convince me that doing extermination missions of the average Scdra soldier is something beneficial to the world or morally justified. They are literally holding down quarantine zones and zones that need to be quarantined because one outbreak would most likely result in the destruction of the entire world. So it kind of pisses me off to see the Drifter seem so reluctant to kill the Major or let the Hex die when they literally go out of their way to kill civilians turned soldiers who are now fighting the tech rot.
And we all run to our golden sun for
While the Drifter did attempt to free a lot of individuals being controlled by an army or Veil, they also killed a lot of people being controlled by them. The Drifter was literally killing brainwashed people who had no clue what they were doing here. That's all I have to say. Was it for the greater good? Yeah. But the Drifter has recently been written to appear as the perfect moral person, so we have to bring this up as well.
Take your shot for profit.
The next group I want to quickly cover that the Drifter readily murders is the Corpus. Killing the average Corpus crewman in extermination missions is like if instead of killing the CEO of the United Health Group, Luigi went and shot a minimum wage office worker who happened to work for the United Health Group. I mean, it's so weird to me that the Drifter is so comfortable mowing down all these Corpus crewmen who have their own personalities and lives, but refuses to ever hurt anyone redeemable in cutscenes. It's so incredibly goofy. I think I've done more than enough to show how incredibly inconsistent the morals of the Drifter are, and it really just comes down to bad writing and the newest update in my personal opinion. I know a lot of people glaze this update, but I've been outspoken about the issues with the story for a long time. And And while I agree the environment is amazing, the gameplay is fun, the new weapons and Warframes are super cool and fun to use, I won't back down from saying this is just terrible writing. DE forced the Drifter to change in a dramatic way, with it not at all being natural, and on top of that, the change doesn't even make sense because the Drifter is still literally killing hordes upon hordes of people without a second thought. That's also the reason I brought up the Drifter in this video and not the Tenno. The Tenno has been very consistent with their morals, and they've consistently shown that they'll do whatever it takes for the greater good, even if it involves like genocide, like they did with the Organ, which included the children, which is something that, you know, maybe isn't the morally right thing to do, but the Tenno just do whatever it takes. The Tenno has never been proposed as this completely morally righteous character in Warframe, and we've been shown time and time again just how aggressive and ruthless the Tenno can be, while still fighting for what they believe is right. Obviously, DE is trying to separate the Tenno and how they act from how the Drifter acts with this new Hex update, but failed miserably because it wasn't at all natural. I think the biggest issue in this entire update is the Drifter refusing to shoot the Major. That goes completely against their character and what they've shown in the past, especially considering the next moment you take control, you start slaughtering tons of Scdra who weren't nearly as dangerous or powerful as Major Rusalka was in the moment you refused to shoot her. This leads me to my conclusion. The morals of the Drifter in cutscenes and in gameplay are completely different, and it badly hurts the narrative of the game, or at least the Hex storyline. When you look at games like God of War or Red Dead Redemption or GTA, the characters don't completely change personalities and their moral viewpoints every time there's a cutscene, and that's a sign of a game being incredibly well written. Warframe fails at this with the Hex quest, and like I mentioned before, stinks heavily of the same issue that Fallout 4 had. Outside of the main quest, you could be downright evil, but as soon as a cutscene or quest kicked in, it was all about saving the world and being the best person in the room. Anyway, thank you all so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Let me know if you disagree in the comments below. I personally think that this has just been a major lapse in writing. I think if the Hex storyline was a standalone storyline and you couldn't murder hundreds of people, then I think that they could have pulled it off with what they wanted to push here. But I think trying to make the Drifter this morally righteous character while you literally kill thousands of people per quest is probably not the most intelligent decision, or one that you can really even pull off, to be completely honest. I don't know how you would pull this off, because the Tenno and Drifter almost have to be like, you know, this weird spot to where they're like, yes, we're doing what will be mostly good for everyone, but we're going to do some evil things to get there, right? And that's how they've always been and how they should be, because that's just how this is going to work in a game where you kill huge masses of people and where your character that you play as in the Tenno, in a sense, has literally committed a genocide before. So to suddenly have the Drifter be like, I will not hurt anyone in every cutscene, but then, you know, immediately after the cutscene is over, hurt lots of people, it just doesn't work that well and doesn't make sense. And I mean, let's be honest, extermination missions, it's titled extermination. You're going out there just to kill people, dude. Like, that's fucked up, dude. Like, no matter what mission is, every extermination mission is fucked up, but it's extra fucked up when it comes to the Scdra. Just does not make sense. Anyway, thank you all for watching so much. I appreciate it. I will give a huge shout out to all my members. Tyr, Krazy, Panagoidus, Tinanoises. Love you, man. Can never say your name right. Jay, who's been here forever. Thank you so much, Jay. I appreciate you, man. We need to hop on the game sometime. And Sign Up King 5000, who's also been here for super long. I love you, man. I think Sign Up King was our first member. Jay or Sign Up King was. And I love both of you guys. Thank you for being here. We need to hop on the game sometime. But thank you guys so much. Hope you enjoyed the video. Like and subscribe if you did. Let me know what you guys think below. And stay blessed, stay happy, stay safe. And, you know, hope to see you in the next one.